to go.
What's going on? What's going on out there, crypto world and other traders? Man, a little shellacking going on yesterday evening. Let's see. Opportunities possibly a little bit, though. A little bounce action off some of the major horizontal supports. Pretty funny. That happened very fast after yesterday's video. Didn't think it would be one day. It's like, oh yeah, next major support is in the upper 40s, and we go there pretty much immediately later that evening. Pretty dumpage. There's a lot of red across the board. Pretty nasty BSV going all the way back to the trend line. I mean, pretty brutal moves across a lot of assets, no doubt. But is this just a liquidation break for some possible upside? Let's find out. Welcome. It's your boy, Z-Rex, with no noise. We are coming at you live today on this Friday. Woohoo! Everybody's favorite day. Good old Friday. Although Friday is like my Monday, kind of. I like the, yeah, it is. My banner is still showing. Ah, thank you. Thank you, sir. We almost got in there. Appreciate you, Scott. It is Friday. It's awesome, I guess. Kind of ugly day down here. Like 9,000% humidity. You know, whatever. But hey, for most people, Friday's awesome. I hope you have a great Friday. Let's get into some of this price action because there is plenty to talk about after yesterday's dump fest. All right, let's just start with total market cap because it's probably good to look at today. Getting a lot of pressure, lots of selling off. I mean, we have lost, ooh, Jeebus Christ. We have almost lost, well, I guess on the closing basis, a little over $500 billion. All right, just got dumped out of this market. So ain't no BS. A lot of, I mean, that's a pretty big percent move too. But it is kind of chilling right on the mama, so it's okay. Right on the 55. We'll see how today closes. But yeah, definitely a lot of profit taken on that run. Let's go look over here. It looks actually better on total too, which is very surprising that it looks better on total too. It's like way above the 55, so that's pretty interesting. Still looks pretty bullish though. I mean, when we're zooming out on these on the long-term time frames, I mean, like it doesn't look terrible still, which is so crazy. And this is something we've been warning a lot, especially since the pi cycle came around, that one of these days we're just gonna have a pullback probably to the 21, and you know, because it just hasn't even tested it this whole freaking run on the weekly, and usually it does, but you know, maybe this was the test that almost got there at about 47.5. It resides at about 44,000. So pretty damn close on that. See if we can get some basing going on right here at this 48,000 level. Let's see. Yeah, you can see, excuse me. You can see here, too, this just is really ugly when it was consolidating over here. Not even able to get over the 21 exponential, getting rejected by all the long-term moving averages and just rounded out. Just was very lackluster action there. And on the 3 hour, the 3 hour has just been killer on the damn DMI. I mean, it's been bearish since 60, right when we lost 61K, which was the horizontal we were looking for. So literally breaks that, has a little relief bounce into the trend line, and it's been dominant as F the entire time. So way to go, 3-hour DMI, being the Jesus man right now, doing great on reads, and it's still super dominant. So we're not out of the woods quite yet. Another thing that was very crazy we kind of were talking about was just this resistance line on RSI came right up to it, which is also right by the power zone, right under 70, swift rejection. But look how fast we did go from 67 all the way to 30. I mean, it's pretty much only been about a week. That is a pretty swift move to the downside. And as we talk about a lot of times, when you get really aggressive moves, it doesn't matter which way they are. When the slope is very steep, you do have to be careful of snapbacks on those. And I'm kind of looking for some kind of bounce off of this region. Like more, I mean, it has bounced pretty well. Don't get me twisted there. But like a lot more though, because this is a lot of work that needs to be done by the bulls now. I mean, we've been riding this 21, and until this 21 gets taken out by the 3-hour, I'm definitely leaning a little bit bearish on the low time frames. I did nibble last night on some stuff. I was like 90, a little over. I was pretty much 90% cash. I was talking about since, a few days ago back on this dump here, right here, when it rallied up back up to the mid 50s. I went 90% because that's just a lot of damage, taking this wick out, and just that's an ugly candle. So I wanted to wait and have some firepower, and also just let the market digest this a little bit. There's no rush. You don't have to get in immediately, back in, or whatever. Patience is a very important is a very important trait in trading. And so on that note, this little dip though, when we started getting to these next horizontals, just don't think, and I started buying a little bit. So I put 20% of my money back to work on these lows, bought a little bit of Dogecoin, bought a little bit of Monero, and Bitcoin and ETH, of course, just the top dogs. Because ETH was actually putting in a very nice pattern right here at these lows, kind of doing just testing this, and then does a little spring here, and then immediately gets bid back up. So this is confirming that this is a very much respected level around 2200-ish, 2180, whatever, give or take that $20. And bouncing off all these tails too in that area on the 200 EMA on the 3-hour is pretty sexy so far. Now, obviously, we do have a lot of digestion to do before we can reset. And talk about a major fake out on ETH. I mean, it was a little suspect yesterday that it was just rallying so hard. Did not see this guy coming, but what a bull trap put in by Unicorn Shirt Man. Oh man, just slapping the shit out of everybody. The one thing about Ethereum's daily candles, I will say, is this candle is pretty ugly. And this one here that closed yesterday, that is not a very sexy candle. So Ethereum is kind of neutral on the medium time frames. Obviously, high time frames still look fine. I mean, look, weekly still looks okay. It does have loss of momentum, though, but it's almost regaining it on the RSI, but everything else looks pretty damn good on these high time frames, even all the way down to a 2-day. It's only like a daily that has one little candle that looks kind of ugly. So we can't hang our hat on that too much, and I'm still in buy the dip mode on crypto until we start really breaking the 55 in the mama on a daily. That's when I would start to get really concerned. And to be fair, on the mama bear has actually already done that. So mama bear is looking a little bit weak, actually making a lower low here on today, unless we rally over 51.3-ish, 51.2-ish. Today, which totally could happen. I mean, you got 6 hours left in the day. That's plenty of time for Bitcoin bulls to do a lot of work. Will it happen? I'm not sure. We just gotta wait. But if it does do that, that would look a lot sexier. But ultimately, though, this did kind of get violated. And the next stop, if 48,000 doesn't hold, is in the lower 40s. And then we're starting to look pretty ugly on that, because on the weekly, yeah, we'd come back to test the 21. But that would just be kind of the next spot to see what would happen. And if we break this 48 level again on, I mean, probably if we just wick below 48.5, it's probably going to happen. I mean, the bulls need to really keep it bid above this horizontal to prevent some further downside. I do like that there is a little bit of bullish divergence on the 3 hour from this point to this point, so that's kind of cool. You do have, do we have it on some of these points? Yeah, you did have 1, 2, 3, actually 4 stabs right here from here to here to here to here on the low crack time frames. So kind of playing, I mean, this is a good spot for that bullish divergence to kind of be playing out. I do like that for some confluence to possibly rally up into, you know, the 53 area. And that's where the real work is going to need to be done, because you can just see like these EMAs are coming down pretty fast. And, you know, Friday action, we're going into the weekend. Yeah, Bitcoin's definitely not making it easy, but yesterday I was just being robot mode, and when we go to a support like this with a fast sell-off, I'm going to buy that shit every time on the first test. I don't care about my emotions. And was it hard to do that? Yeah, it is. It's not easy to buy when it's bloody Thursday evening, you know, when everything's just dumping 10, 20, 30%, But I mean, it's the TA, and if it's going to respect the TA, it's going to bounce from that level, and at least you know very fast anything back below, you know, kind of that 57-ish area, that would be a botch trade. So your risk is easy to manage on those. So, and like I said, I just started nibbling. I only put back out about 20% of my crypto capital. I still got about 70, because I had 90 cash. So yeah, I'm like 70 something, low 70s allocated back to it now. And I will be glad to add some more if we can start breaking the medium term time frames back up to the upside, is what I really want to see. And given that the DMI has been so good on this run for the last week, I'd really like to see the bulls get back in the neutral zone at least with the bears, and then I'll start being a little more risque and put on a lot more trades. But you can see too right here, coming to the floor on futures, almost showing the exact same chart here. Daily on the futures are actually threatening to do the first open and close below the 55 and the mama, unless we get a big rally again. And we have to go higher on the futures. We got to go up above 53K for that to be negated. And just for reference, I mean, it's slightly significant because this has not happened since all the way back at 11,000 back in September. So is it doom and we're going down to 10,000? Absolutely not seeing that right now, because there's major support right here in the mid 40s. So as long as this kind of area is holding and we can get some oscillators flip back around, it'll probably be all right. There is that good old pi cycle thing that everybody dismissed. It's so funny, man. There's a couple traders that I like to chat with sometimes. I mean, everybody just totally dismissed it. I mean, people were even putting videos about the pi cycle up with other things, and they were only picking what's up, Rock? They were only picking the ones that fit the narrative. So they're like, oh, stock to flow looks great. This other EMA times 5 thing looks great. And everything looks awesome except the pi cycle. So let's dismiss the pi cycle. And I was like, man, what, like, a few traders that I like to watch were all kind of saying that. And I was like, whoa, man, that's kind of scary to like I was like, man, talk about curve fitting and being biased as hell, confirmation bias. Like, oh well, one says it's kind of bearish and we're looking for sell-offs, but I don't want to listen to that one. Which don't do that. Yeah, it only has 4 iterations now in the history, but all of them called a top. We talked about it at length, and I did a really deep analysis on it with this info here, which we talked about a bunch. So, like, I mean, with TA, it's kind of like it works until it doesn't, you know, just like in blue sky breakouts. It's up until it's not. So, the one thing about the pi cycle that's interesting is we are about to flip back and cross to what they call a long signal. I'm not sure if that's what it should be called, because if we go back in history, it's literally only been right once. So that's shitty. That's not good for hanging your hat on. I mean, look, when this crossed, it was literally at the top before it rolled over. All right. Go back in time again. It literally crossed here, and it was at the bottom, and it dumped another 25%. To be fair, I guess it did rally a little bit after that. After dumping 25 cents, it did have a 90% move to the upside, but ultimately made just another lower high and kept rolling over. So not good there. The only one was 2013, early 2013. It did trigger here, and it was actually a very good long signal for continuation back up to the upside. And so this is actually going to be the fastest by far that the pi cycle to the quote unquote long above the short EMA. I guess, see, it doesn't even really say long signal. It's just the long MA is above the short MA. So it's not saying like pi cycle bottom or something like that. So I'm not really sure why that's even on there. But mostly this is for finding tops anyway, this formula. And so now here we are, fast forwarding today. We're crossing, and it's only been 11 days. Most of the time it's like 3-ish months or something between the signals, and this is only 11 days. So that is very interesting. This one is already behaving vastly different than the past signals. And so I'm pretty curious about how this is going to pan out here. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really think it means that much. I guess maybe if it triggers here and we can kind of keep holding that, maybe it gives us more confluence for like the mid 40,000 area. As long as we're kind of holding there, it's all good in the hood. And, you know, that's kind of stacking with the 21 EMA and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, this part of the signal is just kind of whatever. The pi cycle thing has definitely played out pretty well so far. I mean, ultimately about a 25% haircut in the price there. But yeah, I'm not hanging my hat too much on this other part of the signal. I just don't really see in history any kind of relevance or edge you could get from it. I think it's best to just be using the looking left on the chart and looking at the can't even talk here. Looking at the chart and at the horizontals. Do I think the pi cycle is based or biased since it's drawing new candles after the cross? Drawing on new candles after the cross. No, that's how the formulas work on these. Sometimes they'll flash this happens across the board on a lot of indicators that will paint stuff on here. It's only painting. It's because it's like partially painting because it is past it technically. And so like if this did, it can't really rally now or do anything to negate crossing this. I guess maybe if it rallied all the way back up above 56, it might. But it just kind of, like yesterday it started flashing. It's because it was like getting close to doing it. So I think it's, I don't think it's biased. I think it's just, well, maybe it is biased, but it's just biased for the tops. It's just mainly to find cycle tops. It's not to really find bottoms on that. So I'm not sure if that really answered your question or not, but let's see. Yeah, so decent reactions here. I like this 3-hour candle right here. This is pretty nice as long as we're holding like 48,700. This actually looks like it wants some continuation. Anything back below 48.5-ish, I'd be pretty skeptical about further downside action, and I would probably let go. I might take it down to 48, but if we start losing 48, I'm going to let go of my little allocation that I put down last night in the evening. One thing, let's go look at futures. Yeah, futures aren't giving us any clues either. It's just super bearish still. Man, we actually got daily DMI dominance in the power zone on the CME futures, which has not happened since September 4th. Again, kind of lining up with the mama and the 55. And you know, the thing that does suck, I don't want to be doom guy here right now, but the thing that kind of does suck that's different about these two signals is this was like when it was first starting off of a very nice consolidation zone and the long EMAs right below it. And if you zoom today, we have a decent support zone, but dude, anything below 43 on this thing probably gets us very quickly to test one of these long-term EMAs. And I mean, that, talk about brutal, that's 40% down from here. And we don't want to see that either, because that starts to really question the entire macro trend of Bitcoin. Because in the past, I don't know, maybe you might not remember this, but we talked about in all of Bitcoin's history, whenever it dumps about 45% to 50% from an all-time high, that has marked the top every single time. So, yeah, there usually are big rallies like after that happens, you know, that come back to like a halfback or like a 618 retracement, but that has marked the top every single time. So we do not want to see that. And where does 45% land right now? At about 37-ish, 35. So like 38K is kind of the line in the sand right now. We do not want Bitcoin to get back below that. That would really be bad for the macro charts as well, because then you'd start breaching the 21 EMA and all that stuff, which in history, that I don't have on here, hold on. In history, the 21 EMA has been very solid for the macro runs, as you can just see scrolling here. Only one little blip right here in early 2013, which we could be mimicking something like this. There's a lot of decent analysis that kind of does point to this type of fractal here. So maybe that gives us a good re-entry point, but I mean, this is all speculation and hard to, I mean, we're just kind of playing around with the numbers, so to speak, because we have a lot of time and a lot more price action needed before we can even really get there. 38K, yeah, 38K is pretty important for the macro. You got a 7-week EMA. Okay, a 7, huh? You're going way low. I don't go that low on mine. My shortest one is a 10 EMA. A 7-week EMA. Yeah, that's an interesting one to use there. Pretty aggressive, though, sell-off. So, and at a top like this could be just, whatchamacallit? What's the word I'm looking for? Like we talked about earlier, just in the video, just when you get these really aggressive moves up or down, a lot of times they will get snapbacked. And you can see, I mean, here we've got, I mean, that's a pretty aggressive downslope right now. Let's zoom back in. Actually, let's move to Ethereum. We've talked about Bitcoin enough for like way too goddamn long. And Ethereum's still okay, pretty sloppy EMAs. It's just range bound right now, though, between 22-ish and 24. I mean, and it's right smack in the middle of the range. I wouldn't initiate any trades here. The time to do that was definitely when it's testing on the 200 and this horizontal. I mean, that's major support for Ethereum. And it looks like the market was respecting that area, too, so that's pretty nice. Futures kind of showing the same thing, but just in the middle of the range. No big edge to get on that either. How about Litecoin? Yeah, Litecoin looks kind of, I mean, it's trying. It's just hovering right between. I mean, a lot of these are just going to be in kind of no-go zones. Just because the edge sucks. I mean, Ripple looks pretty bad here between the 377 and the 200. Below that 136 level. It's got a lot of work to do for the bulls. I mean, this is pretty bearish on Ripple. Very bearish on XLM. I mean, it's below like everything. So yeah, this chart doesn't look good. Daily is, I guess, kind of trying to be good above the mama here. But yeah, I guess for XLM, it looks a little better. It did bounce right off this horizontal at 35 cents, which has been a major support area. So I guess as long as it's kind of riding this mama on the daily, it's okay. Dot looks kind of, I mean, we're just like barely hanging on a lot of these altcoins, it looks like. Link looks a little bit better, hovering closer to the 21 in this previous local high. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, still got some work to do, though, now when they're in between these long-term EMAs. That's kind of just like, that's a meh zone. ADA having a nice bounce, though, but dominant. Bears are still very dominant on the DMI, though. So, I mean, this is bearish below 116. Same with BCH. This is bearish until it gets back above 850. I mean, you do have this nice EMA of the 200 right below it, and it's trying to look sexy, but, I mean, till we get some more neutralness on the oscillators, this is a little bit dangerous here. BSV, absolute murder fest on BSV. I mean, Jesus Christ. No love for Craig. There is no diamond hands in this asset, that's for sure. More like shit emoji hands. Link Adam Rune. Yeah, we'll go check those out in a second. Yeah, and now, see, we are in a lot of these altcoins. We're getting right up to the 10 simples and close to the 21. So this could just be a dead cat bounce before we roll back over. Let's, so I don't like that read. That's not set. Yeah, look at this. EOS, kind of same thing. So a lot of the altcoins are looking a little bit heavy. Ethereum is probably the best looking one right now. Yeah, here we are, right up to the 10 simple. In the middle of this range. I mean, I guess it did bounce off this box range, which is going to kind of bring back over. So that, I guess that makes it a little bit better. So Monero actually pretty sexy bounce off of this for the range, not percent-wise, but where it did bounce, that's pretty good. Really needs to get back above that 360-ish area. I mean, this is right in the middle, though, so not much to do. ZEC probably going to look the same. Yeah, it looks the same here. Kind of even on the underbelly of this trend line, too. Yeah, bulls need to do a lot of work right now. Dash actually looks pretty shitty right here. Just accepting price right on top of the 377. Any body close below 248, this thing's probably going to 220. And maybe beyond. Yeah, this one doesn't look super great. Daily is okay, closing above possibly the 55. So this looks all right. It's still neutral. Weekly still looks okay. So Dash actually has a little bit better of a chart on the daily. Let's see, Doge bouncing like a madman off of the 21 daily. That is a pretty sexy move. Yeah, it's not really that great. This isn't really that great either. This is a hard zone right here because you got the long-term EMAs and that support. I mean, you're just getting sandwiched in right now with the price. I mean, so you got the EMAs doing this, and you got the slower one doing this with the horizontal. I mean, as long as it's kind of in this range, there's just not much to do. I did buy some on this wick down here. I had some lower, but it didn't fill me. Little bastards. That's okay, though. But if this starts rolling over and loses like 20 cents again, it's probably going to roll back over to this horizontal Let's see if the crack time frames have gotten almost, but look at the 200 providing that. Whoops, providing that resistance. And it's getting squeezed right now hard. So hey, this is probably gonna have resolution here and maybe during the stream. So that's interesting. Oh boy, good old crypto dumpage. Yeah, DMI is bearish as hell though on Dogecoin. ES equities are saying we don't care about crypto today, and they're just rallying their faces off. I mean, just mega bounce here. We got double BART patterns. Don't see that often in equities. But, I mean, this looks pretty damn good. How's the weekly shaping up? Yeah, I mean, the weekly is, if it closes up here, it's going to shape up as a nice continuation candle, just a little consolidation. I mean, there's nothing too wrong with this chart, except, actually, the DMI and the RSI have lost momentum on this pump. So that is actually interesting. Huh. Let's go to weekly. Weekly is very bullish still, though. About 3 and 2 days. Yeah, they still got it. 2 days still got it. So it's only on the daily. Yeah, pretty much kind of a no trade zone for me in this box until we get out of here. Then I'll just jump on the wagon of downside or upside, just kind of depending which way it breaks. But kind of interesting, the daily is kind of lagging a little bit on the momentum. Let's go to the 3 hour. Yeah, nothing really on the 3 hour. Oh, the double inverted BART head pattern right here. Looks pretty good as long as it's holding above this 13.9 area. Very, very nice. Same kind of posturing, though, losing a little bit of the momentum on the dailies, but probably still got it all up on the 2 and the weekly. Yeah, so not too terrible. This looks fine above about 13.7-ish. No major issues on NASDAQ until we broke that. Man, a lot of these just look the same. Down, up, down, up, down. Pretty weird. Man, if this doesn't get some continuation pretty soon, this is going to start smelling like distribution. So, obviously, we're not going to get resolution this week because it is already Friday, so we have to wait till next week and see what happens. But, yeah, just confusing as hell. There's all the indecision that you could get. Russell doing kind of the same thing, but is it going to break out? It's still got so much work to do. It doesn't even look like anything's happened in Russell the last, 2 weeks. It's just this stupid pattern. What is this crap? The weekly is looking all right. No momentum, though, on the weekly. So Russell's actually weaker than all the other equities, but, man, you got the 3 hour right here with every EMA within 0.5%. I mean, as long as it's above 22.30, I mean, this is pretty damn bullish. So on the low time frames. And Mama's kind of agreeing with that too. A little bit lower at about 22.10. So yeah, pretty interesting. See if we can break above this box today. That would be a little bit bullish for the Rut Dog. Finally getting some legs on it. Dow Jones, transportation. Yeah, that's good for market bullishness, making new highs, so that's nice to see for Confluence. VIX getting slapped back down again. VVIX getting slapped back down again. Mama's getting respected by the Mama and the long-term MAs, so kind of looks like we got kind of already played out that move, so there's nothing really to see on that. Oil almost breaking back out of the box. Not quite, though. It is getting close to a reset, though. Actually, it kind of does have a reset on the daily. I'd like to see it go another few days and get an open and close above the Mama. Then we would have the EMAs all structured and pointing up, and then we just need a little bit of confirmation from oscillators, which would probably happen above 63.50. And then maybe we can hit up to our trend line target up here. But it's a little early for that. We do need that open and close above $62, and then that probably comes more into fruition. Bonds just kind of chilling. They're not doing much today. Just riding up these EMAs. Still looking pretty damn sexy on bonds. Definitely there's going to be pretty good resistance at 159 like we spoke about yesterday. Anything above 159 I do think gets us to this next horizontal at 162.20. Notes kind of doing the same thing, just riding the trend lines and EMAs. TNX actually has a cross now on the 10 and 21, which hasn't happened since the breakout all the way back in, dang, September. So that's interesting, but still looks decent hanging out on the mama. Just needs some more time. There's not really much to do with that. Dixie's still selling off. Man, the dollar is just dumping, man. Like, what a... I guess this is the pump. Everybody's like, oh, inflation and stuff. Yeah. Whoa. And then Mr. Market's like, nah, bitch. We're going to die. I don't even know. Who cares? Inflation up, down. None of this shit matters, man. That's why I don't even care about news. I just got to not even say that kind of stuff. What is that? Is that like snowflake hands? What is that icon? Yeah, this looks pretty bad. If this engulfs all of this actually looks for continuation to the downside. And the euro breaking out, I mean, the euro's been looking pretty damn bullish. And here we go. Look at this. Actually making new highs, man. That is very interesting. Not new all-time highs, but new like little local highs. This daily close is pretty beast mode. It needs a little bit more time. The oscillators or the EMAs are a little sloppy, so I'd like to see those get lined up a little bit better. But man, if this thing is just holding 120 now, that's like major support on euro. Came back, tested it, confirmed twice it tested that breakout zone, and now it's getting continuation. So euro looks pretty damn good. DAX just going super stupid sideways. It's kind of iced the rally so far until we're back above this candle at about 15.4. So same as yesterday. It ain't really doing shit. Same shit, different day on Shanghai. Just getting rejected by the top end of this box. And Mama's right there. Really got to get above both of those to get some continuation. Otherwise, it's like whatever. Gold having another little sell-off today. Right on the Mama. Right to the trend line cross, though, right here. These are generally really good support areas when you see price go to a trend line cross. Pretty nice. Might use this to nibble a little bit more on some gold. We'll go look at gold stocks here in a sec and kind of see if there's any cool stuff to possibly get in on there. Let's see. Silver... just riding up the trend line, trying to break out over Mama. If this thing breaks back below 25.70, it's going to look pretty bad, and that probably would lead to a failed breakout and probably more downside. But man, we've got so much support right underneath it in the 25, mid 25s. That's why I think it's real critical to hold that 25, even maybe down to 25, 30-ish. Then that would still be okay. Kind of where this Mama little saucer bowl is. That should provide some pretty good support. Even if it did break this trend line. Remember, we're all watching the same stupid movie. So trend lines are like the easiest. That's everybody can draw a trend line. So a lot of times you'll see like they'll break and everybody will get bearish and it'll go down a little bit. But a lot of times it'll get caught by Mama like this or a long-term EMA. And then it'll just be a fake out for a continuation. So... oh, damn, it's starting to dump right now. Is it messing with my internet or anything? Let's make sure we got good frames going. Yes, diamond with a dot. Woo, boy, let's get some thunder, boys. All right. So silver still looks all right. Man, if we get this daily close back above again, I would probably confirm this as a breakout. And I'd be looking for $30 probably on this if we could get another higher high and make higher lows on this structure, just kind of riding up these EMAs. And a little more time goes by, I would like to see the long-term EMAs cross back up to the upside because they're just real flat right now. Platinum, let's go, baby! Platinum getting its rally on. Love it. Up almost 2%. This looks pretty damn sexy.